July 15 to 19, the top 16 women's MLBB teams from around the world are heading to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for a 5-day showdown on one of the biggest stages in esports. And only one team will rise as the champion. This isn't just another tournament. It's a celebration of how far the women's MLBB scene has come and a glimpse at the unstoppable future being built. Is back at the Esports World Cup. From July 15 to 19, the top 16 women's MLBB teams from around the world are heading to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for a 5-day showdown on one of the biggest stages in esports. And only one team will rise as the champion. This isn't just another tournament. It's a celebration of how far the women's MLBB scene has come and a glimpse at the unstoppable future being built right now. The action kicks off with the group stage featuring 20 best-of-3 matches across 2 jam-packed days. Teams will compete in a hybrid bracket format with both upper and lower brackets giving everyone a fighting chance to stay in the race. It's a high-pressure battlefield where early wins mean everything and only the top 8 teams will advance to the knockout stage where legends are made. The top 8 teams will enter a single elimination bracket starting with best-of-3 quarterfinals, then best-of-5 semifinals, and finally the grand finals. A high-stakes best-of-7 showdown to crown the best women's MLBB team in the world. Expect bold drafts, clutch moments, and history in the making. These players aren't just here to compete. They're here to prove they belong at the very top.
Thank you very much, Mirko, for the voiceover. But now we got to look at the escalation here. 16 teams going to 8, best-of-7 grand finals. Eterna, break it down for us.
Yeah, so it's quite simple but very different to last year at MWI because one of the main differences for the group stage is it's no longer a round robin in each of the groups, but rather the GSL format. So essentially, you win twice, you move forward, you lose twice. Unfortunately, you have to say goodbye to your MWI path. But one of the main differences as well is the grand finals, which will not be a best of 5 like it was last year, but it'll be a best of 7. So with these girls, like, don't know whether or not, because some of these teams might not be experienced going a full best of 7.
Yeah, and also playing with a best of 3, I think it's going to be really hard in terms of drafting. And with this tournament format, I think it is intended to make sure that all matches will be high stakes.
Yep.
Because it's not going to be 1-1 as compared to before as best of 2. So I'm expecting that all games are going to be close.
And now we got to see what they're fighting for because we have a total of $500,000 US tournament prize pool. Number 1 getting 150,000, second place 90,000. This is life-changing money.
Yeah, I think it marks one of the largest, if not prize pools for MWI history, and at the same time for women esports titles to date.
I also think that it's crazy for regions that are still developing. Right?
Yeah.
Because for most of the regions like Indonesia, like Philippines, they already have like a set of tools and resources that they can use to allocate and really just progress in their MLBB international stage journey. But for these emerging regions, imagine how much money that is that they can use to upgrade their team because some of these girls are still playing from their rooms.
I like that you brought it up because we got to do a vibe check here because we're going to look at the attending teams and we just got to talk about it, right? Certain teams, they've been here before, right? And others, it's their first time. Even if it's the same org, sometimes new players. You guys can see on screen, these are the 16 teams.
Yeah, we have 16 teams from very different regions here. Obviously, we're looking at teams that we have seen before, like CFU Gaming. We've seen Team Falcons before. We've seen, Navi come through, but under a different banner. And I think one of the main highlights for this tournament alone is the fact that we have a new region, which is Mongolia. So excited to see what kind of gameplay and what flavor of MLBB that they have, because reflecting back onto the men's team, that was something new, and I'm pretty sure the girls also have something in store for them as well.
And now, even though we have 16 teams, we got to break it down, all right? We're breaking it down to 4 different groups. So I feel like this is going to be very interesting to see who is going to struggle in the groups, who's going to have a good time. Chantel, which group are you looking at?
I think for me, it's going to be Group B. I mean, we have a team from Malaysia. Tidal Legends Gaming has been playing really well, rapidly evolving in terms of the meta. Even Gaming Gladiators had their boot camp in Malaysia in preparation for MWI with their coach second time around Midnight. And for Team Liquid, they've been playing really well up against the dominating Navi PH, previously Smart Omega in national qualifiers.
I mean, personally, my eyes on Group A as well as Group C, right? Because you have Team Vitality, one of the main contenders to win it all on one, paired in with Team Falcons, who also have been doing really well in their own qualifiers. And then we have Group C. That's a tough bracket as well.
And now we got to talk about the club championship here, because as you guys saw, one of the attending teams is Team Falcons. In the previous year, they were the winner of the Esports World Club Championship. But now they haven't done so well. So for the Falcons team, they have to win this one and another championship, because for you folks at home, I got to tell you, it's not just MLBB. EWC, the club championship, is huge. We got multiple game titles. And for you to be number 1, I don't know, maybe you got to win 3 or 4 championships.
Yeah, I think this is going to be very crucial for Team Falcons, since some of their teams also that played during wildcards or for the wildcards wasn't able to really go into MSC. So or for them to be able to secure a title for MLBB Women's is a good thing for them, if they are able to.
I got to say, it's going to be very difficult. But if they want it, hey, you just got to win. Right now, we're going to look at the schedule for today. We got a lot of matches, right? To the point, we have 2 different streams. We got Stream A and Stream B. But right now, we're looking at the schedule here for Stream A.
That's our stream, guys. If you guys are kind of confused back there waiting. But we are going to kick things off with Group B, our opening match of the day between TLID and Tidal Legends Gaming. Then we're going to Group C, Navi PH versus CFU Gaming. It's a really good match there. After that is Team Vitality, Twisted Minds, and our final match of the day will be Onyx ID or Onyx Partiwi versus the Dream Max Girls.
You know what? I'm really excited to see how Twisted Minds will play up against a team like Team Vitality. I mean, Twisted Minds, they're also new to the league, but at the same time, some of the players already have experience. And even for Dream Max Girls up against Onyx Partiwi, I mean, Onyx Partiwi, a lot of promise coming into this tournament. So I think it will be a tough game for both.
You know what? Looking at the schedule, we have 4 different matchups, and I'm pretty sure everyone is wondering which of these 4 is really the one that you have to look out for. Just looking at the schedule again, this is for Stream B, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it looks like it's Stream B. They're going to start it off from Group B. Navi Malaysia versus Gaming Gladiators, followed in with Virtus Pro versus the Terror Queens. We have Team Falcons MENA versus WoW GG from Mongolia. Rising Rage and Foot Esports will be the closing match for Stream B.
You know, for Rising Rage and FUT Esports, we don't really have that much of information for them. So it's something that we should really look forward, because it would set up the story lines for their group and for the other teams as well.
Yeah, personally for me, I do want to see how Gaming Gladiators, after their bootcamp in Malaysia, like what is the result? I really want to see if they change the way that they play. And Arya is a new import. I don't know if she's going to be playing or not. So we'll be talking to our reporter a little bit later just to see what kind of update that they have for Stream B. But yeah, definitely amazing matches for today.
For sure, for sure. We're looking at how things will shape up. And coming into this, we have a new patch as well. So I'm excited to see the I would say, adaptations
Yeah.
from these ladies coming into and reflecting of the fact that usually with the women's tournament, we see more comfort picks and they like playing with things that they're used to.
You know, for me, I always consider day number 1 as a day for discoveries. So we might see teams adjusting to the current meta or probably teams sticking to their strategies.
Yeah. And if we want to talk about that, we got to talk about the Aramco Power Rankings, where we got to see of the 16 teams that we have, what are the 6
There you go.
that for us we got to look out for. And it's
Wait.
Okay, they're showing all of us. They're showing all of us.
I was like, why are they putting me on the spot here?
Okay, let's talk about the similarities here, right? All 3 of us said Vitality is the team to watch. Onyx is the team to watch. Interestingly enough, for me, I didn't actually put Team Liquid, but it turned out of all the 6 teams that you've put up, which one do you really want to highlight?
I want to highlight all of them. That's why they're on my power rankings, LaFell. What are you talking about?
Fine, if you have too much to say, Chantel, what about you?
Probably for me, it's gonna be Navi, PH, and TLPH. Not because I'm from the Philippines, but
Of course, yeah.
but because I was able to actually cover some of their games, and it's very enriching to see them play because they have their own strengths and weaknesses, but they can adapt mid-game. But I think CFU is also a team that is known for that, can surprise us with upsets.
Did you put CFU in your power
Yes.
rankings? Okay. You didn't.
Hey,
We both did.
hey, I didn't. I did fine. You caught me red-handed. But here's the thing, guys. We're about to start day number 1, and we're in a different room, but I can feel the hype. I can feel the energy. I hope you guys can feel it too, because right now, let's check out this video.
But now we're reaching you the 41. But an offender walks in, and Jewel finds Yui Fendi. They're gonna lock onto the base. Panda unloading right now.
I gotta say, looking at that video, I just remember some of the amazing plays that we saw last year. And one of the things that I really like was the drafts. I wonder for this one, will we see the same kind of spicy drafts that we saw since last year?
Hopefully. I mean, that's what we're here for, right? We got a lot of exciting things coming from MSC, and I'm pretty sure at MWI we're going to be seeing some crazy picks. But you've mentioned the drafts. What I'm excited about, looking back at that video, is the drama.
Yes.
There was
Yeah.
so much going on last year, especially from that team from NA. So they're coming back again with a similar roster. So I want to see if something stirs up there too.
Yeah, I think emotional stability is one thing really for these ladies. They've prepared really well coming to the tournament, and this is the time wherein they need to show what they really prepared. So they don't really need to be that nervous, particularly for those teams that are new to the league. But I think for the teams, they are well prepared.
Unfortunately, it's one of those situations where it's easier said than done, right? Because even transitioning from best of 3 to best of 5, best of 7, you need very different mindsets for all those different series. Because something that people don't usually touch on is that mental stamina. Because we see a lot of teams. Game 1, game 2, drafts are amazing. And in terms of technical positioning, perfect. But once we start moving on later stages of the game, people start making mistakes.
That's where experience comes to play, right? For those of them who are used to playing these long, drawn-out series, obviously we're going to see that stamina coming through. So I'm a little worried for the newcomers here because we do have a few teams that are new. I got to talk to Falcons last year, which was their first international tournament, and I could see that they were shaking as soon as they saw the stage. And guys, you saw the stage earlier. Have they seen the stage? They haven't, right?
They're about to.
Later.
They're about to.
It's huge.
And speaking of which, it's time to celebrate a decade here with MLBB because we've been nominated for 3 different categories in the Esport Awards. So make sure you guys vote for us because we got 3 here. We got MLBB for Esports Game of the Decade, M5 World Championship for Esport Live Event, and of course, Moonton for Publisher of the Year. So make sure you guys go to esportawards.com/vote and vote for us because without you guys, we wouldn't be here.
Yes, please do. Please.
We've been here for like seven years already.
Well,
Wow, what a long journey for everyone.
I'm not gonna expose my age. I don't know if you want to do that, Eterna.
I was something
7 years
10
for
years
you?
old. Yeah, for the whole MLBB.
Wow.
Yeah, so right now we saw the schedule, but we got to look at the Saudi National Bank match of the day. It's going to be Navi PH going up against CFU.
And it completely makes sense, right? We're
Yeah.
coming to this tournament. These are the two teams that have the most experience under their belt. And for Navi PH, they are wolves in sheep's clothing because essentially Navi is a newcomer as an org, but they're rocking the defending champions from last year.
Yeah, I think also when we look at the matchup, it's like IESF qualifiers all over again. We're in a CFU Gaming actually stopped Philippines from qualifying. So I think also in an interview, Shino was really vocal that she looks forward into defeating CFU in this tournament.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, it's only day one and we're already having that drama.
There's drama. There's
It's like,
definitely
okay,
All the drama.
you beat me before, now on the grandest stage of them all, I'm going to remind you who's the better team are.
Exactly. We're looking at so many different storylines, and it's going to be so interesting to see. But are they arriving now?
Yeah, this is the Jamil team arrivals. Every single team, all 16 teams will be here because we got a grand opening. This is day number one. We got to make it big. We got to make it impactful. We got to make it memorable. And I feel like we can do it because the teams this year, I feel like it's very tough. In fact, I feel like even though we have a winning roster, I really don't know if they can challenge the other teams. And for you guys at home, if you guys want to keep up to date, make sure you guys follow the social media on TikTok as well as Instagram. Help me out here, Eterna.
Yeah, MLBB Esports _women. Because as the years come by, as the days progress, the female league is improving.
Yeah, I think for the next couple of years, we'll have more qualifiers
Let's
for
go.
the female athletes. Hopefully, more qualifiers.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I feel like you guys are excited because I'm excited. I want to see all the teams coming in. I want to see them compete, and I want to witness their journey to go above. Which team can actually go limitless? Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to invite all 16 teams here right now, and I want to see who is really going to rock on day number one.
Esport has always been a male scene, and now here we are.
And once again, on the way, big three, woman in love.
All those sleepless nights makes me here.
But now Ramichi with the boy blind.
I want to achieve more to become role models for others, especially young women who want to compete. Women's esports are getting more recognized worldwide.
But I'm offended, locks in, and Jewel finds Yui Fendi. They're gonna lock onto the base. Panda unloading right now.
Gaming gladiators are committed, driven, and ambitious. We came here to dominate the tournament. I want my team to be remembered as the strongest female team in all esports game.
It's been stolen away from me.
We are making history.
nothing is granted, everything is earned, and only those who dare will rise above. A new week of competition here at the Esports World Cup. 16 teams join us in the Saudi National Bank Esports Arena, and the hunt for a new champion begins. We wrapped up our first week of competition, but we still have 6 more weeks to go. $70 million on the line, and a throne awaits their new queen.
Now, it's incredible to be back here once again, because here at the EWC is where dreams come alive. Previously, for Mobile Legends Bang Bang Women's Invitational, we have seen new queens, new champion arise to take the throne. Now, right here for EWC, fortune favors the fearless, as what awaits the champion would be the lion's share of $500,000 and, of course, the right to be called the champions, the queens of Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Now, over the course of next 5 days, we'll be seeing 16 teams from all over the world take the center stage here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Everything, all of them have something to prove here on the international stage. Now, question is, will we be seeing our title defenders going for a back-to-back win? Or will we be seeing former champions reclaiming their throne? Or we could potentially be even seeing new champions arise here in Saudi Arabia. But of course, at the end of the day, only one team will rise above and become champions of Mobile Legends Bang Bang Women's Invitational 2025. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the journey to rise above and be limitless starts right now.
So many incredible storylines waiting to be written here at the SNB Esports Arena. So without further ado, let's introduce our incredibly talented queens to the stage, starting off with CFU Gaming. The representatives from Cambodia attending their second straight MWI tournament. Will they be able to claim their first international title for their organization and for themselves?
And now, presenting to you your Burmese representatives, Terra Queens. Now, the new team led by Myanmar veterans who are returning for their third straight MWI appearance here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, have something to prove as they take on the international stage.
Next up, make some noise. It's DreamMax! The representatives from Latin America, once again with a second appearance here at MWI. A powerhouse of the region, a dominant force ready to unleash their full potential and claim the championship.
And now presenting to you Malaysia's finest, Nabi MY. Now led by veterans Hani and Fafau, who are returning from last year's MWI. They are out for redemption this year after falling short the previous round, and they want to show the world that they have what it takes to win the tournament.
Next up, a team looking to secure points for that club championship as well. Welcome to the SNB Arena, Gaming Gladiators! The representatives from North America make their presence known here in the capital of Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, in the heart of the country, in the Riyadh Boulevard. Composed of returning players once again who represented NA last year. Will they be able to secure their title? Led by their roamer Ashley and powered by the Malaysian powerhouse import Arya.
And now, presenting to you Mongolia's representative, the region and the team will be making their debut this year. Straight from the heart of Mongolia, the princesses with royal ambition is ready to rise as queens of the world. Presenting to you, Wow Gigi!
And now, the title defenders of last year, under a new banner, looking for another title, it's Na'Vi! Representing the Philippines, once again, one of the most dominant regions that Mobile Legends has ever seen. Can they claim another title? Can they go back to back? Can they go all the way?
And now, presenting to you the Turkish Delight, our Turkey's representatives. The region and the team will be making their debut this year, and the ladies are ready to make their mark. And presenting to you the pride of Turkey, Food Esports!
And now the representatives from Indonesia, give it up for Team Vitality! The Bees from the Hive, the two-time MWI champions in 2022 and 2023. They may have missed out on making an appearance last year, but they are back, fiercer and stronger than ever, ready to make a dominant performance here on the stage.
Check your watches. What time is it? It's Onyx time. Presenting to you Indonesia's representatives, making their tournament debut this year. This may be their debut, but they're already considered a powerhouse. Keep your eyes on none other than Onyx.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know them, you love them. They are the hometown heroes, the representatives from Mina. Give it up for Twisted Minds! Looking to get their first international title here on home ground. The pressure on their shoulders is immense, but these queens are ready to handle anything thrown at their way.
And now, presenting to you Mekong's representatives, led by Vietnamese veterans Daisy, Cal, and Sa, who are returning for their third straight MWI appearance, and they have their eyes set on the throne. Virtus Pro is here and ready to make waves. Put your hands together for Virtus Pro.
Next up to join us in the SNB Arena, EECA's representative. Give it up for Rising Rage! And you, representative from their region after debuting last year. And now they are more than ready to show the world exactly what they are made of and what kind of playstyle they will be bringing to the table at this tournament.
And now, presenting to you the EWC Club Champions, Africa's representatives soaring into action, Team Falcons! The This year marked the first time a qualifier was held in the Africa region. Team Falcons is making their second straight MWI appearance, and they will be soaring into action here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
And as we can see in front of us now, the key wall with 16 teams and 16 keys representing their tournament life and their right to participate in this year's competition. With one goal in mind for every single one of these competitors and every single one of these challengers, keep your key intact and you keep your hopes and dreams alive. Next up in the SNB Arena, ladies and gentlemen, one representative, you know him from the Philippines, it's Team Liquid! Making their tournament debut for the first time since last year, representing Philippines, the Cavalry is ready to charge into the race to become the queens of the world and the land of dawn. Get ready for an unstoppable assault at the MWI and at the EWC.
And now, presenting to you China's representatives, Title Legends Gaming. Now led by their captain Bei, she has mentioned that TLG this season will be the fastest running dark horse of the competition. Now the entire roster will be making their second straight MWI appearance, and they're gunning for the trophy this time around. Now the region of China only made their debut last year and is showing rapid improvement in terms of performance, and we can't wait to see the action happening over at the Land of Dawn.
I believe the stage is set, Cheryl, and we have our lovely queens resting on the stage, getting ready to start our first game of the day.
That is absolutely right. The players are ready, locked and loaded, and ready to head on over to the Land of Dawn. Bet the Femme Fatales of Mobile Legends Bang Bang are here and ready to slay. Now you can expect epic gameplays and of course high-octane game fights happening over at the Land of Dawn. And without further, we're going to be handing our time back to the studio. Yalla!
Thank you very much, Cheryl, as well as Sandstorm. I gotta say, that was amazing. The drums, the keys. But now we're gonna talk about the two teams that'll be competing, the opening for MWI here. Title Legends Gaming as well as Team Liquid.
Yeah, I think for Team Liquid here, they are a team that has this aura just by them walking earlier down the stage. And I'm just really looking forward as to how they will play fair up against other teams, because again, other teams are, up against the Navi PH, they were also dominant. So how about other teams that they will be playing up against in this tournament, because technically this is their first time in an international tournament.
Yeah, and I feel like we got to talk about Team Liquid here first. You already started it out, and looking at this matchup, it does sound like they're probably the favorites going up against Title Legends Gaming, because again, coming from the Philippines, one of the best regions in the world, and I hear out of everything that we can talk about them, their macro, that is something that we got to look out for.
Yeah, definitely for Team Liquid, we have Daiki, Ramisi, Saishi, Soju, and even Kla. So again, first-timers in the MWI stage, but the best description for them is they are the type of team that can easily adjust to the current meta. I can say that the Kamisi is like the missing puzzle piece that made this team really gel in. In other qualifiers, I mean, they maxed out 3 games against Navi PH, 5 games also, and they also have a new coach. This year, it is Coach Shimuri, who is actually the coach for the TLPH MDL team.
Yeah, honestly, like as I was traveling in the elevator, I heard a lot of stories. I've heard a lot of stories.
What stories?
So they were like, "Oh my goodness, yo, Team Luca, we don't know how they do it, but they got so friendly so quick. The chemistry was there." But I heard another thing as well about Tidal Legends Gaming. One of the heroes that might have to be considered to get banned out is actually Zetienne, because their mid laner is known for that hero.
Yeah, it was Bae who mentioned that in an interview. She's like, one of the things that will set us apart in MWI this year is the fact that we have the mastery of Zetienne, who is a Vermal. So considering all main 5 are here, they were here as well last MWI, but unfortunately, they didn't qualify too far, right? 9th to 12th place at MWI 2024. For TLAG this time, they were able to qualify through the Chinese qualifiers, really dominating that as well. So it was really crazy. But the biggest thing that we're looking at for TLAG, and one of the reasons why a lot of people are considering them to be dark horses of the MWI this year is...
Or Yellow Elephant.
Or the yellow elephant.
Yeah.
Yep. It's the fact that they have been dominating the matches beforehand as well, right? Placing 3rd place in the Asian Esports Games 2024.
Okay, here's the thing. Before we even start the game, we gotta talk about topic of the day. We gotta talk about the patch, because a lot has changed since the last time that we saw all of these players. And honestly, there's so much for us to cover. Like the river, Lancelot got buff. We gotta talk about this. EXP lane buff, that's actually huge.
Yeah, actually for the Revo Pro change, this could actually change the dynamics of the game, whether or not a team will rotate on the gold lane or probably on the EXP lane. And good thing is that since you have heroes like Lapu Lapu and Uranus, it gels in with the XP lane buff. So with the Lapu Lapu changed from 20% to 8% per hit on the enemy, so it means that he is more sustainable. And speaking of sustainability, Uranus is like a hero now that is really prioritized. Could be banned in this game because if you have a high burst heroes on the mid lane, definitely you don't want Uranus to have that early game.
Yeah, so speaking of which, Eterna, you had the pleasure of casting a few games this past few days. So why does everyone want Uranus?
Just exactly what Chantal mentioned earlier on, right? The changes towards the Uranus, the fact that the Uranus is a lot more sustainable, and the fact that it can be flexed as well has been a huge problem, right? So a lot of these teams have been utilizing the Uranus first pick in order for them to kind of sniff out what the enemy wants to do to look for a proper laning phase, whether it be in the EXP lane or in the jungle position. Now, one of the glaring differences as to why the Uranus has also increased in popularity in the meta is the fact that Baxia was a little bit nerfed, right? The anti-regen coming through allows the Uranus to be a lot more of a threat in the early game. So despite the changes to the Baxia, though, still very popular, just not as strong as before.
And it's not just Baxia, all the anti-regen items, all of them got nerfed from 50% to 40%. Honestly, even as an analyst, I look at it's just 10%. How big of a deal can it be? And apparently, it is a very big deal. And something that we got to talk about as well, Yi Sun-shin is back in the meta, where a lot of changes in the jungle made the jungle priority much different, where now Yi Sun-shin is one of the fastest farmers in the jungle.
Yeah, and because of that, I think for the Yi Sun-shin, even the usual vision that it gives says a lot as to how a team can actually rotate over the other, and it gives them more damage per second capability, having another marksman probably, or they will have, of course, on the gold lane.
I mean, maybe they can flex like a Ruby gold lane.
A Ruby gold lane, so that's another option, because if you have heroes like Yi Sun-shin, you can do fighters on the gold lane, and at the same time, it could be complemented by a healer tank. We have the Rafaela also. So Yi Sun-shin and Rafaela, just imagine the mobility, just imagine the damage that it can deal given the right items and even the rotation.
So I'm actually excited to see whether or not we'll see the Rafaela, because I was waiting for that pick to come out in the wild cards for MSC, but the only healers that we really saw were Florin, Estes. We saw that once. And interestingly enough, if we're looking at the kind of support styles, is we saw the Minotaur, which technically has a heal to his kit, but also the Diggy. So we saw the Diggy babysit gold lane meta kind of come back, but I think that should be situational. That's not where the meta is directing us.
Something that I personally feel as a roamer in my games is that I feel like it's actually a big adjustment for a lot of teams, especially when you're playing in the previous patch and you're in a competition. You spend a lot of time practicing that meta, where you have essentially two frontliners. So now if you change, especially with the EXP laners wanting to dive in the backline, and then your roamer is a healer, who's going to be the front line? Especially when teams doesn't have the practice on those utility junglers like the Boxia, like the Fredrin. So it really is about adaptation, because I feel like supporters, the healers, and etc., they're good. They're really good, but only in specific draft. It's not one of those things where you just put it in there and then it will work in every situation.
Yeah, and also at the same time, there are players that aren't used to using heroes like the support type. So there could be changes, yes, in terms of the draft, but I don't think all of the teams will stick to that meta. As Eterna said, very situational, depending on how the other teams will lay out their draft. I am expecting actually that for this case, majority of the least prioritized heroes could be the mages. Just because it could set up the tempo, but definitely also be the priority in terms of the banning.
But we forgot to mention one healer, and talking about the mid lane, it actually poses my next question. What do you think about Angela?
I really feel like Angela is very good in a funnel meta, and I really feel like it really works if you have one very good hyper carry, whether it be the jungler or the gold laner. And I kind of feel like in this current meta, everyone is a little bit afraid to put all your eggs in one basket, but I feel like that's a very viable strategy, though.
Yeah, I think it could be paired up with heroes like Alice. Some of the teams do that, and heroes that could actually go in other places around the map. So, for these teams. Just like what we said before we started the show, it's more like of a discovery in a day number one, because they're really adapting also to the other teams, because at some point they need to adjust what's the best for them with the current situation or the current team that they're facing.
So Eterna, looking at previous games, previous metas, we're looking at the EXP and there's only like, 2-3 choices. What do you think about the EXP lane now? Has the pool really become much bigger?
It's an interesting discussion to talk about the EXP lane, because going back into like the few past metas, we're looking at EXPs that are a lot more sustainable and that facilitate. But coming through MSC, we see a little bit more damage dealers, but also in a way that they have tools in their kit. So we're not seeing a lot of the Benedettas, we don't see the Paquitos ever, we don't see the Dairoth ever, but we're seeing a different flavor. It's either you get a hero that's like a Lapu Lapu, which will be able to facilitate more in team fights and look for those opportunities across the map, or something a little bit more passive, like the Uranus, who is a big problem in the lane and obviously can open up the map and also just really push in. We've seen the Uranus actually even cutting 2 waves, so there's a lot more pressure in that sense. And then we're seeing heroes like the Hilda. So it really depends back on composition, but those are the heroes that we typically see. So we see the Uranus, Lapu Lapu, sometimes the Arlet.
Yes.
CC Glue, situational.
I think for that case, it really depends on whether the team wants an EXP lane that is really the frontliner or does the initiation.
Yes.
Because for our, it's very different, right? Hilda does the zoning, could potentially kill a specific player, but for our lot, it's more on crowd control. So I think for this case, if you want crowd control, the team can also be prepared if it is up against a healer type of hero composition, because that's a great counter for them.
And now I want to talk about storyline here, because actually Team Liquid as well as Title Legends Gaming, same but different. Because if we look at Team Liquid, technically newer roster, newer players, but they're from a region that has one of the best teams in the world. And then when we look at Title Legends Gaming, they were here since last year. So in terms of chemistry, they have more time. But their region is not as developed as the Philippines. So this is going to be a very interesting situation to see whether the environment really helps you out or your personal growth really helps you out.
I think this is where Ramisi should stand out for the team. I mean, yeah, she's already considered a veteran who played for a team last year. So as long as she's able to guide the team, because she is with a team, or her teammates are actually playing before for a very long time, and they were really vocal that Ramisi is the one that actually glued them as a team. So it's more of a leadership question here for Ramisi. And now for TLG, I think it's more on the hunger. I feel like for TLPH, they're more like excited to show everyone that we are from the Philippines, so we now have 2 slots to represent. But for TLG, they want to redeem themselves from previous year.
That makes sense. That makes sense. A little fun fact though, on TLPH, they've been scrimming against the MDLPH team, TL Academy.
And their coach is the coach of MDL team.
Exactly. Not a lot of people get that opportunity.
I don't.
I think this is where the drafting will matter for TLPH, because they actually implement global banning for MDL. So I kind of feel like for TLPH, they have a lot of heroes up their sleeves. Probably more on the synergies, not really sticking to the meta, but more like if you have this hero and this is good with this and that.
Yeah, and honestly, looking at TLG, if I remember from last year, their mechanics are absolutely amazing. But going up against a team like a Team Liquid, where the macro is one of the best among all 16 teams here, I do want to see how they can actually counteract that. Because maybe in the early and mid, both teams might look equal. But when the lore starts to spawn, that may be where we start to see a bit of problems here, especially for TLG, because you said that, both of you said Team Liquid, they actually scrim against the MDL team. We don't know who TLG has been scrimming up until this point.
And that's what makes it all the more interesting, right? Because once we get to the point where we're going for the Lord dances and we're contesting for these late game things, that's when things aren't template. Yeah. And a lot of teams struggle with that, right? Because it's all down to your shot caller to decide, all right, we're in this position, whether it be from behind or we're leading right now. Do we go for the contest? Do we go for more pressure around the far lane? That's the tricky thing. So I think there's going to be a lot of pressure onto Kenzaki as the shot caller, the roamer for TLG, to kind of figure that out in the game.
I think also for TLG here, somehow we have this specific heroes that are used normally in their region. I think they could capitalize on that. I mean, very specific, like for example, for the counterpart, a lot of Brunos, and they specialize on that. It's something that they can work around. Probably, or most probably, they prepared a hero aside from Zetian, because they really vocal about it, and they can just surprise TLPH into this game. And when we said the difference in terms of decision making, in terms of late game, I think for TLG, since they had their own experience in the stage, that won't be much of a problem, since they really adjust well. There's a rapid growth and progress in the region.
And who knows, maybe the Zetian is a trap. Maybe that's why they're so vocal. It's like, oh, our Zetian is so good.
But
maybe
they're not really choosing Zetian.
Maybe you should bat it out. And speaking of which, now we are going straight into the drafts here. It looks like Team Liquid will be first pick, TLG will be second pick. And starting off, already banging out the Farsa as well as the 1-1. TLG banging out the Baxia as well as the Yi Sun Shin. Really targeting the junglers here for TLG.
Yeah, very, very specific. For TLG here, they know the potential of Ramisi, and at the same time, you can actually have the Baxia as flex. So they don't want any hero on that level, because it's going to be hard for them if they are to show their probably their jungle first, since they are on the red side.
Yeah, interesting enough, we also saw a Uranus ban as well. So we really have to see what is going to be the priority, because if I'm not mistaken, they ban out Farsa, 1-1, and Uranus. So what will be the contested pick because comparing to last year, we see a lot of Jushin, but lately not a lot because we really want those damage dealers in the mid.
I think it depends because at MSC, I think the Jushin was like number 2 priority amongst the Farsa and the Kimmy. So
Yeah.
with the Kimmy still opened up, I think it will be a huge contested pick. Beautiful flexibility on the Kimmy. You can play the triple MM strategy that we've been seeing from the MSC wildcards, and the fact that the Kimmy really dominates in the lane, right?
Yeah.
She has exceptional
hate
amount
it.
of damage. Exactly. She
It's
has
a bit too much.
exceptional amount of damage in the early game. It allows the rotations to happen a lot quicker because she clears really fast as well.
Yeah, and you can work around the emblems if you want it for the slow, if you want it to pure damage. But I think for other teams, if they pick around the Kimi, they have to be prepared on the next 2 picks. Maybe a Sting Hero, maybe a Phobius. I probably could see a Phobius on this game. So the first pick actually determines whether or not a team will go on a full head-on hero composition meant for the early game, and then you will answer with maybe a fighter and even gold laner and maybe even assassin.
No, I'm thinking assassins because going up against Kimi, even though they nerf her mobility just a little bit, it's very difficult to get on top of her. Even if you pick up something like a Lapu Lapu, if she saves her first kill, even though you jump on her, she can just escape. So I'm really looking at those assassins, the Link, the Lancelots, the Hayabusas,
So I think that's going to be one of the things that we are going to be looking in the early stage of the drafts. And there you go. So Kimmy has been picked up here.
That's a good opener.
Fredrin Arlet, that was one of the things that I really wanted to tackle with the Baxia and the YSS being banned out. We usually see the rise in the Fredrin choice and then the gold lane matchup, which has been very slim, right? We've seen a lot of Iritel, Granger, and everything else is very secondary.
Yeah, I think for the drafting of TLG, they are heavily relying on securing that crowd control prior a objective taking, but there's a good answer also from the side of Coach Moody and TLPH with the Gatot. So we'll just answer the taunt from the Fredrin with the Unbreakable. So that's a good front already. But since you have Gatot on TLPH, it means that there should be another layer of a front runner for the. And here we have the Zetian for the crowd control. Vermouth will get her favorite hero. If not, so I think it's all about tempo. Again, crowd control. You can speed things up with the ultimate and also stop majority of the players on the other side.
Something to mention, you were talking about the Phobius, and the Phobius has gotten banned out. Now I gotta ask Eternal, looking at its first 3 picks for Liquid as well as TLG, what are you looking at? Because looking at TLG, it looks like they really want a team fight.
Yes, it does. They're looking for a lot more tools that they can utilize, and that might be a problem. But to pause that for just a second, we do see the Lancelot being banned here in the second phase, and this is starting to limit the hero pool for the junglers, right?
Yeah.
Are they forcing like something like a Hayabusa pick or something like a Ling? I mean, technically Fanny is still open. And the funny thing about Fanny is that we don't see her getting banned a lot because a lot of players don't seem to be very comfortable on it.
Actually, Ramiti is a good Fanny user. That I'm not sure if it's just a bait from TLG and they're prepared up against Ramiti's Fanny. But I think with this one, they're really forcing, Hayabusas and such, probably for TLG here. Since they got heroes that is really more on the tempo making, probably they might want to ban out another hero against Ramisi. Hayabusa is a good option for them so that it won't be really hard for the Zetian or maybe even the gold laner for them. As long as there is enough space and clear vision, then it's a good thing already for TLG. Esmeralda. So they ban out Esmeralda.
Do you think we might be seeing a Roger for Amici?
Something that I'm actually worried about, because if TLG really goes this route to go heavy on the team fight, what if suddenly they just play macro and actually just go for the split push? Because that might be a problem for TLG right now, because they don't really have strong laners that can just survive alone, because Arlen needs to be there, Fredrin needs to be there. We might see 1 or 2 lanes being abandoned.
Yeah, I think they could go Moskov here. Just for the sake of having a split pusher on their lineup. Although, expect that early game, a lot of pressure will be made on the gold lane. So for this one, this is where we will know whether our lot will be played on the EX lane, because there's this
It could be a roamer.
It could be a roamer.
Yeah.
So, again, we've mentioned that it's all about the flex picks here for the TLG. And we have the Lapu for TLG.
So this is a roamer.
We're still not sure.
It's a. Nah, I'm pretty sure it's. What, Arlit goat lane?
No way.
No.
Lapu must be in the EXP lane. There's no way.
I mean, never say never.
There's no way.
Hey.
Are you saying that because of the mere crowd control with the final slash?
No, I
Malaysia
think-
has done it. Let me just say that.
No, because the problem with the Lapu is that it's
it focuses on
great
damage.
at level 4.
Yeah.
Right? What is the roamer supposed to do pre-level 4? That's why you put in the EXP to get to the level 4 as fast as possible, get the bravest fighter down.
I think Lapu is great all the time.
Okay.
I love him. He's amazing. He's a very reliable person.
Male empowerment. Oh my god, Lafel! I've Chantal!
I've mentioned Alice earlier, but without the Angela.
That's why she's the analyst. Talk about this. Why is the Alice good here?
Actually, for the Alice, since if you look at the 3 heroes here, for TLG, you have melee heroes, and Alice is against the sustainable melee heroes of TLG. It means that it is meant to be up front or at the center of the team fight. You have a winning EXP lane with the CC, so it's going to be really hard for TLG here to sustain some of the lanes, probably since they doubled down on fighter heroes. So the Moskov has been picked here for TLG, again, because of the idea that they have a strong frontliner. They will have Fred Green on the side lanes, but whenever the long lane is unlocked, it's going to be Moskov doing the split push.
All right, thank you very much, Chantel. So, final thoughts, Eterna, on this draft?
I've never seen the Alice in this current meta or patch, and I don't know how it will fare against the Angela, but I guess we'll see how it goes down.
Hey, you know what? I'm ready. This is game number 1. This is the opener. This is the kind of draft we asked for. And with this, thank you very much, the both of you. But now I want to hear the voices of Athena as well as Mirko as they cast this game.
The journey to rise above and becoming a legend starts today. It's the first ever match in Game 1 for MWI 2025. It's going to be Athena and Mirko here delivering the action for this match.
Yeah, action-packed draft there. We saw the analyst Lafel as well just unload on the draft. Wow,
Yeah.
the Alice comes through. One of Chantel's, she did mention it in the draft beforehand, and we get to see it. I was one of the casters actually for Ramisi's performance in MWI 2024 when she was able to get a massive outplay on the Alice. But yeah, the big concern is there's no Angela here. So usually you have a big support to help the Alice. I guess they have found that Alice is pretty good even solo in scrims.
Yeah, they trust Ramisi enough to just go with the Alice even without the Angela. Chantal is on her A game today, especially with the predictions onto the draft. And as you've mentioned here for TLG, for the first 2 actually that they picked up, that was a very powerful Arlot pick and even the Fred Rin. But looking at the Emblem builds, more on the standard approach here, even for Team Liquid.
Really good stuff from Yinhuai there in the bottom lane. The Master Assassin definitely helping her to get the edge in the lane itself. It's a skill matchup, Granger versus Moskov. You would usually expect the Granger to have a bit more of an advantage in the lane, but so far Yinhuai, rush straight to the Warrior Boots has given her a bit more defense, and with the Master Assassin, a bit more damage to take control of the lane.
You just want to survive. You just want a bit of that advantage, especially here with the emblem builds that they had. And you know why, speaking of which, is actually somewhat tricky or more on the tricky side here because of the linear damage here coming from Kla for the gold lane. But onto the top lane, it's going to be somewhat of a poke around here for Chokes and even Daiki. And let's talk about this XP laners. The option with the CC here for TLPH.
Honestly, not a big fan of the CC. Yeah, it's good against the Fredrin, but there's just so much CC, as in crowd control on the other side, that can lock the CC down. It's a mouthful. Chokes already up top, getting help. Able to get to level 4. Daiki as well, able to get level 4. So far right now, Kinzaki is going to be the one forced into the fight. Jumps in with the Vengeance. We'll get the stun too. Turtle can be reset. Now a taunt over. Retraction pulse. Locking him down, but look at the global ult now. Bay in the back line. Raven Strider and a massive bonk on the side. Saishi secures the turtle, but it is all TLG so far. CLA rotating over Bay. Flickers out the safety. Doesn't get through the wall. Saishi goes with laser beams. Finds the kill. Kinzaki still there. Flickers out. Goes back with the Vengeance. And it will be Daiki who gets the kill, and TLG are forced back.
That was a risk that Team Liquid was willing to offer Yinhui, on the other hand, I saw a Spear of Destruction. It didn't hit anyone, so the extra damage wasn't there for TLG. But definitely, we could see the counter punch here for Team Liquid. That, for me, is actually a bit of a trade. Instead of getting nothing, they've got everything.
It was supposed to be a winning trade, but TLG, their composition, yeah, though they're really good in the all-in initiations, they're kind of just built for that, at least for now, right?
Yeah.
Up until the Moskov maybe scales up, then they'll have more of a say in the longer team fights. But for some time, it'll really just be get in, get out. Long team fights definitely favor the two backliners, two MMs, and an Alice of TLPH.
Yeah, and for Team Liquid, the traction pulse is a beautiful setup here for Zaishi as well. And we could also observe on how Daiki places herself on the bushes, preventing anyone from TLG just giving those information. And speaking of which, there's info here on the bottom side wherein they're trying to find someone to easily pick off. But anyone from the side of TLPH is not easy to get it alone. Aside from Daiki, of course, it's going to be down to the XP. But speaking of which, for Tidal Legends Gaming here, Mirko, we're seeing a lot happening. They want to achieve more with the setups, as we mentioned. They have a lot of crowd controls. But what's the next plan here? What do they need to do in order to totally dominate the clashes as well?
For TLG, they just gotta be in and out real quick. They gotta play for Yinhui to scale up to get to those items. So far, doing pretty good, but CLA actually has a pretty good lead on Yinhui right now. That's almost a whole level in the gold lane. Only a concussive, or a corrosion size, sorry, for Yinhui now picked up. And Team Liquid are doing a good job at playing around the turtle, just dancing around, forcing TLG to use their resources to secure it.
And even the panel mentioned that Team Liquid is actually good at macro, especially onto the dancing here, onto the turtle, another traction pulse!
Oh, final slash gonna be cancelled out, even though it lands Vertical to the back line. Caught down with the curtain call, good deal from Chokers, but Bay's taking a lot of damage. Big grab, but the SOD doesn't land. Ramisi blowing blood into the back, finding the angle to split Tidal Legends Gaming, and that becomes a free turtle to TL.
It's going to be another big objective. Ramisi just going on to the back. I don't need anyone to support me. I'm going to support you guys. I'm going to support you ladies all throughout the round. And now they have the advantage to totally steal down the purple buff as well. TLG is bleeding right now.
It's massive. They can't even find a trade on the other side. It's more capitalization from Team Liquid. Running wild in the game. CLA picking up a turret down below. Now a Sky Piercer too. And if the fights have, if the fights continue to go how they've been going, CLA are just going to pick it up. Another Sky Piercer. Well, the first one of the game so far, but that could be the start of a big snowball.
And that is what we're talking about, that Team Liquid, in paper, you have the Purify or somehow a counter for their setups because of this Zetian. But looking at the goal difference you mentioned, that's a huge lead this early for Kla, and it's reflecting. Even if they switch off Yinhui onto the top lane, there just isn't any space for her to totally maximize being a Moscow for the global presence. Instead, they're being cornered right now by Team Liquid.
I thought it was going to be tough for Kla and Zaishi, honestly, in this game, knowing how good the Arlet can be when it's a pure fight. Wait, Ramisi just didn't take any damage there. She just took it, and TLG literally don't have a way to threaten. Oh, double Sky Piercer. Zaishi picks it up as well. Kenzaki with the conceal already. Global ult comes down. Final slash doesn't land. The current call locks him down. Kenzaki will be gunned down. One of the Sky Piercers getting it now. Kla picks it up. The AOG into the midst of it all. As Bay is forced back. Another flowing blood, forcing Earthbound to walk away. Kla with a triple. Yinhui with a Spear of Misery to push her back, but Kla walks back in. Daiki taking the shots for Kla. Body blocking.
That's a triple kill here. It's a hefty damage delivered onto TLG. And talking about that Arlot, yes, you have those perfect crowd controls, but where's the perfect landing? It just isn't connecting right now, Mirko. And all in all, for Team Liquid, they're just waiting for the errors, and they're maximizing each and every clash with an AOG here. Especially for Team Liquid, just going on to dominate this first game. And looking at our insert replay, there's the ultimate, there's the Fear Phoenix, but what's happening is that there's just too much to handle here, especially for the damage here from Kla.
I'm really not a big fan of the Arlet pick in Rome, right? We saw it early on, and I was already talking to you here, mentioning in the caster desk that the Fredge and Arlet combo was just so, like, it was so, it's so good, firstly, but it was also, for them, so honest. The fact that they banned out Phobius and went straight for the Fredge and Arlet means that, again, this was what they had planned. The fact that they had to flex it to Rome, pick up the Lapu Lapu, I think was a bit forced. Like, it really felt forced. They had a good composition already. I think it was just because they needed to deny more picks away from TL. They didn't want the Lapu on the hands of TL, but actually has now given them another damage dealer that is snowballing out of control. And speaking of snowball, Cla, 40 stacks on the Sky Piercer.
You just have to bite what you can chew.
Yep.
Like, I do agree with the Force are a lot changing on the role. It would have been perfect if it was onto the XP, but gradually though, we might see some glimpse of hope here. And we mentioned onto Golden Cla just doing everything that she can, landing all those death sonatas as well. Even the basic attacks is enough to tore down TLG. And as we mentioned, Mirko, there is just a lot going on for TLG. They have this plan in mind, but the moment that they say, oh, TLPH adjusted, why not adjust our draft as well? But the thing is, if you're not ready with it, even though in paper it's beautiful because you manage to somewhat prevent some of the picks here for TLPH, but if it isn't what is part of your practice, you will be having a hard time, which is what's happening right now.
TLPH has stuck to their comfort picks, right? They didn't really go off far from what we expected. We're going to go back into the game right here with Ramisi already on the turtle and TLG with no angles of attack. At this point, they really are going to have to rely on MWI in the side lanes to continue to trade, continue to farm up to maybe give them a second life. At this point, I think Zaishi should just sell her Sky Piercer, right? Cla has 40 stacks. You're not going to out-execute Cla.
Maybe they're hitting tubers with Unstone. Hitting 2 Sky Piercers with one team. But I do agree with you for the plan B here for TLG is just, you know what, just do what you can, collect all the farm that you can. But for TLPH, they have other things in mind. Of course, you're going to go on to the top lane, but on to the bottom side, there's going to be a clash.
Good final slash to the back. Now, the Brave Spider dodged away from by Cla. Picks up a monster kill. Chokers locked down, has a dash from EC. Walks it forward, flowing blood. And it's a double for Cla. Make it a triple again.
Oh, wow.
Cla on fire in game 1 of MWI.
Just proving you doubters. This is me on the international stage on our debut here for MWI. A great opener, a double triple kill. And we're only 8 minutes into the game. And that was a close call here. Good thing ENY was able to get home. But looking at our SEC replay here, we mentioned they have what it takes. You have your crowd control, but the damage just isn't damaging, especially with the Spear of Destruction, time and time again, not hitting anyone. And ENY just isn't there yet to give the damage that they need to totally focus on to touring down Cla here.
Absolutely phenomenal from Cla there. The spacing was amazing. Dodging away from all those skills, the flicker as well. Great display of mechanics, and obviously the macro part. Again, small lead at the start of the game. They know how to capitalize without getting kills. Yes, it's a very, very active, very aggressive game so far with a total of 16 kills. But you can really see the capitalization of Team Liquid and how they've actually been able to deny a lot of the trades from happening from Title Legends, who by all means, with the Moskov, should have been able to find way more.
But it's the opposite. They're finding dead ends actually here for their game. And Team Liquid, I think Ramisi has her turtle stuffed toy. Because according to an interview, whenever she has her turtle stuffed toy on her head, she believes it boosts her retribution skills. But not to really doubt that, because for TLG, they're just not contesting each and every objective after the first turtle. They're just focusing on trying to breathe, trying to regain some freedom onto the lanes. But TLPH is not giving them any space at all. All the outer and inner turrets destroyed right now. Mirko is just a 10-minute mark. And the First Lord will be marching onto the bottom side. And all lanes are in favor of Team Liquid.
Yeah, it's not just that they don't want to contest. They literally just can't, right? Like Liquid, the amount of poke they have, that range from Zaishi and Cla, and even re-engages, They have so many tools to really tie up Title Legends Gaming. And this is concerning. Title Legends Gaming are coming in game one with their strengths. This is a Zetian that we've been waiting for Vermouth for the longest time. And now TLPH are knocking on the doorstep of Title Legends Gaming.
It's like a TLP should really prepare for that Zetian drop as well. And as we mentioned, she's one of the strongest in the region and one of the crowd favorites with using the Zetian as well. But looking at the damage dealt ranking, it's understandable. Cloud with a double triple kill. And as well as Daiki counter side.
Big time, but there's no follow-up. Their final slash onto 4. Bring him back now. Yinhua in the SOD gets it. Kinzaki jumping back and forth with vengeance, but will fall to the bullets of Claw, who's looking for one more as Yinhua is able to flicker out. Lord still quite healthy now. 11 minutes in the game. The Crystal wide open. Bay and Vermouth doing the best they can to provide space for Yinhua to clear it out. Lord down, but there's another wave in the mid lane.
There's going to be a 2-for-1 trade-off. Team Liquid just want to go for the clean route, but instead, for TLG, this isn't clean.
Yeah.
They have to do something dirty, and there's going to be a traction bows connecting!
Big one to lock them down. Claw walks up, still able to space away. Kinzaki looking for an angle to get a final slash, but TLPH just rotate over to the next best thing. 3 neutral objectives with the first Lord. 3 big structures, base turrets.
That's a huge cleanup here for Team Liquid. Meanwhile, for TLG, as you mentioned, this is their best picks, Mirko. This is one of their best choices, their aces up their sleeves. But for TLPH, Kla alone can deliver somewhat of a half HP deleted onto TLG. That's an 11-0-2 standing, or KDA, for this Granger. Speaking of which, looking at the gold distribution as well, a huge difference, by the way. Onto the turrets, we mentioned the 3 inhibitor turrets destroyed with Team Liquid. It is fairly early, but TLG is already struggling.
You can look at the gold distribution here, you know. Most of the gold for Yinhua has been through minions, kills and assists. A big contrast in how much Cloud has been able to get. I think at this point she's already fully stacked up on the Sky Piercer, so even more of a reason for Zaishi now to maybe sell that Sky Piercer. There ain't no way she's out executing an 80 stack Claw. Faye looking for an angle. They have frontliners, but the poke and the CC is just too much to deal with. And Title Legends, they can't even walk up. Jones walks up again. Oh, Chain CC won't be able to survive. Cloud with 80 stack, just dealing damage. Threading the needle on the Death Sonata, finding two to give the team a free Lord one more time.
And that's how you layer the traction pulse and even the AOG right now for Team Liquid. It's going to be a GG right now for TLG. That's the question. Can they defend?
3 shots and Vermouth goes down. Another one for Claw. No one can out-execute a 15-kill Granger with 80 stacks on Sky Piercer. We gotta stop a statement victory in game 1 from TLPH.
The newcomers just setting the standard here for or facing for the first ever match and game for MWI 2025. Coming in hot. They're the team to watch out for, especially after their newbie or rookie season here on MWI. There's no jitters, there's no nervousness at all here, Mirko. Just very confident, relaxed stance here. Even for Ramisi, just discussing, guys, are we done here? Is there anything we can improve more? You want more action?
Yep.
No, all smiles.
We expected them to maybe feel the pressure again, considering that the Philippines just won MWI 2024. So having a second team come in, a lot of pressure for TLPH, at least we thought. But yeah, like you mentioned, Athena, it looks like it's just another day at the office for Team Liquid. They're looking calm, composed.
Yeah.
If it isn't visible here, you can just go and replay the game. That was as cold as can be. Team Liquid were flowing like water.
And that's just somehow something to look forward to, knowing that this is their first ever international on-site, and it's for MWI. I could just only imagine the amount of practice that they do every day, because they're fairly a new team together, aside from Ramisi. But looking at the whole chemistry as a whole, it's like they're playing from their whole lives for a few months right now. Like a longer, like Navi PH.
Absolutely. it almost just feels like even Ramisi, the new player on the team, doesn't look like a new player. She fits perfectly.
Yeah, that's a perfect combination here for TLPH. But to break down the formation and what happened for game number 1, we're gonna throw it over to our panel.
Thank you very much, Mirko, as well as Athena. And I gotta say, there's a lot we gotta talk about. We gotta talk about the drafts, the plays, but let's talk about Claw. What an amazing debut.
Yeah, I think for Clash, you just enjoy that game. I mean, 14... was that 14:02 or 15:02? 15:02, right? So
That's impressive.
I think it's just the chemistry, as mentioned by Athena earlier, that was really evident onto this game. But we could really think that for TLPH, they meant that their draft will work this way with the Alice, even Daiki's function onto this game. They're just playing like a liquid, very fluid.
And it's so crazy because, like they mentioned earlier on, right? This was a team that was formed this year.
Yep.
As compared to TLG, who's been around for years, right? So you wouldn't expect this kind of quality coming through. But I mean, I guess they were scrimming with their MDL male counterparts. So the in-game knowledge is definitely showing, and not to mention the macro knowledge that was shown. Because for a lot of inexperienced teams, we usually see kills after kills, which this was reflected as one, right? Very high kill game, but the fact that TLPH knew where to use it and what to take afterwards was very important. And I gotta say, it started in the drafts. The Kimmy was a big factor to things how we're able to roll down and snowball from the early game to aid the Alice in the jungle, and also to aid Kla in the lane on the Granger, who technically has a better time against the Moskov.
A good thing you've mentioned about Zaishi's hero. Again, when we've mentioned about Kimi earlier, we said that they could work around in terms of the emblems, and with the Weapon Master, it made perfect sense for the rest of the heroes here for Team Liquid to actually penetrate early game against Tidal Legends Gaming because of the slow effect. So if you have continuous damage from the Kimi, you also have the taunt from Gatot, and even the slow also from Ramisi's hero, it was a lot easier for them to go in and be aggressive against Tidal Legends Gaming. And when we compare the hero composition for Tidal Legends Gaming, these are more like scaling heroes, specifically for Moskov. It's really hard because Team Liquid kind of shifted mid-game, and it's not actually considered mid-game, it's still early game, wherein Kla is part of the team fight. You have a Daiki clearing the side lanes, and sometimes a jumps in for every team fight.
And we saw the damage graph just now. Look at how big the number that Kla generated in this game. So it's not just like, I'm just taking the kills. She's doing it herself. She's giving the damage and she's taking the kill. Now, we got to mention that this is the opening game of MWI. And talk about setting a statement, man. Like, Team Look at her looking so strong. And I feel like that might have even surprised Tidal Legends Gaming. He's like, okay, I think we're strong enough. But then going up against Team Liquid was like, wait, hold up. That's a huge gap.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people from around the world were looking at the Filipino region and the fact that, okay, we're looking at two of these Filipino teams, but it's got to be Navi PH, right? Because they're the defending champs. But now, TLPH coming up on stage for the very first time does this. I do agree, it's a huge statement. So, Kla, double, triple kill. That's how much damage she was pumping out. And now we know that if Kla is given a winning lane, if she can snowball, that's going to be a big problem.
It's not fair anymore.
It isn't. It isn't.
The Sky Piercer was around 5 minutes in the game.
It was so quick.
And around 7 minutes, she is already at 5 kills on the Granger. And she was totally unstoppable during the game. And I think this is where it is evident that Ramisi is one of the key players for the team, because since she adjusted the function of the Alice, I mean, remember before we started the game, or before we threw it to the casters, we were like, what is the Alice gonna do without any sustained hero, without the Angela? But the function here is, for Ramisi's hero, it was to be on the front lane, have Daiki use the vengeance while she is doing the blood ode, and then have Kla and even the rest of the players at the back just dealing damage against TLG.
Because the tricky thing about the Alice when it was meta, do you remember those days? I think it was like a couple, maybe was it a year ago?
I think that was a year
It was like
ago.
the Super Ken era. I think Miracle will attest to that, right? The tricky thing about the Alice is that it requires a lot of farm, no?
Yeah.
In the early game. That's why we do see when it was Alice in the jungle that they would go to several different lanes to kind of just give all that
Funnel
gold.
towards
Exactly.
Alice, yeah.
Funnel towards the Alice. So how did you think that it went down?
Personally, for me, I kind of feel like we're actually looking at the basics here, where you just take away the farm of the other jungler. In fact, let's look at the jungle to jungle comparison to really see like what really went down, like in terms of the numbers in this game. Because I really feel like every single lane of Title Legends Gaming, they lost. And if you lose your lane, your jungle is not going to be safe.
Because it's weird, right? Because we're looking at a composition from TLPH who has Kimmy in the mid lane. Technically, she needs the farm, right? So we're also looking at Granger in the gold lane who also needs farm.
Oh,
so
wow.
let's take a look at the head-to-head. That is brutal, guys.
Look at the gold per minute. Ooh.
Yeah, very.
Talk about taking the farm out of your opponent's jungle.
Almost double.
It's like for chokes here, the real struggle was how can I possibly have those items to even counter out Ramichi up front and do the eruption and do the taunting if there is no farm for me. And if that's the case, it was just a short game. It means that the rest of the players of a TLG around that time didn't have the chance to actually farm.
The thing is, people keep talking about Fredrin. What's great about Fredrin is you don't need that much farm. But at the same time, you don't want to be that behind. Like there has to be a limit by how far you
At least
can
an
actually
item.
fall. At least just one item difference. But yeah, if we're looking at the movements here, it really does apparent. We can see apparently that Team Liquid, they always have the forward motion, forward momentum, so they can take whatever they want in the game.
Because earlier enough, we saw the jungler XP disparity and it wasn't that far, right? First Turtle, they were the ones... Well, Ramichi was actually the one to get picked off. TLPH were able to get the lore, but that was the Kimmy picking it up. But I didn't expect things to go so badly in favor of TLPH because I remember at minute number 10, it was what, a 4-level difference between the junglers?
So now actually I want to shift the conversation a little bit. We talk a lot about Team Liquid, but now I want to talk about Title Legends Gaming because even during the cast, even Mirko said, I don't like that it's so honest, right? Early picking the Arlet as well as the Fredrin and then eventually having to pick up that Lapu. What do you think, Chantal? Do you think that they're too tunnel vision in their own thing, that they just don't have the answers to what Team Liquid was putting on the table?
Or it's more like they were too focused on trying to counter out the hero composition of a TLPH that they were forced to take the Lapu up against heroes like Kimi and such. But it's going to be a hard time with the Lapu against the Kimi. But the thing here is for TLG, I think they need a specific lane wherein whatever happens, it will win. And
it's got to be the gold.
Gotta be the gold. Could be the EXP lane because we saw the difference earlier with the movements from Daiki and her counterpart. So yep, for TLG, a hero that has damage early game can also have sustain, but at the same time can deal more damage late game. Could be an EXP lane, could be a gold lane, but not leaning towards or doubling down on scaling heroes.
So I think in simple terms, they just need to go back to the fundamentals, right? They need to look at the lane matchups. They need to find a way to win at least one, right? So they know what their winning conditions are and what they need to play towards. Because looking at game number 1, what were they supposed to be working with, right? Moskov early stages doesn't really win against the Granger. If you look at the mid-trio rotations, Alice roams a lot quicker. Kimmy is able to clear these lanes a lot faster. And if we're looking at the EXP lane as well, it's 50-50 skill matchup. So coming into the drafts, I think this is going to be very important to pay attention to.
For me, what I saw in the game, when both sides are losing, even the mid-trio was like, okay, where do we go? And they couldn't even move because the Kimi just suppressed their movement so much. But now we're jumping into the second game here. Looks like TLG will be the first pick. They're banning out the Farsa, Yusenshin, as well as the Hayabusa. And Team Liquid banning out that Boxia and no Uranus for this matchup.
Yeah, very specific for TLPH since they're opening up the Zetian for them, and you don't want Zetian paired up or have a hero on the same team that is more on the sustain side. So I'm thinking for TLPH, they just don't want any hero that could slow down the pace early game, and now they ban out the 1-1 since okay, so they ban out the 1-1. It means that they are to get a hero that is always on front.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be a Mathilda, could be. For them, anything can happen for these ladies. And since they are on the blue side, TLG will pick Kimmy.
Yeah, it's important to note that they swapped sides this time around, right? So now that the Kimmy is in their hands, the big problem is because they banned out the Hayabusa, they couldn't force a YSS ban from red side. So now TLPH have the ability to pick that up if they're comfortable with it. Chantal,
Pick up
they
the
have that, right? YSS in the jungle?
It's been banned.
It has been banned.
Oh, so what's the hero that's left open with the Haya ban?
Now they get the Zetian and even a Phobius.
Oh, Phobius. Phobius is the one that's left open.
I think if left at the EXP lane, even though the Kimi was of a threat earlier in game number 1, it will have a hard time if the Phobius will be on a good or winning side, even with the Vengeance. I think for TLPH, they could go and have Lancelot if it's not banned.
Agree. Yeah. The Lancelot, the Lynx, there's still a few ways for you to get onto the back line. Right now, TLG, they open up with the Kimmy. If they want to hide where this Kimmy is going, I think picking up an early jungler before he gets banned out and maybe get a winning matchup against the Phobius. One of the ones that I'm thinking about is the Hylos as well as CC, but both really are not priorities in the EXP lane right now. We can see that they're taking their time and they're picking up this Iritel, assuming that Team Lukit wants to pick up the Granger again.
I was about to say, I think I understand the intensity that is required and maybe the urgency, there you go, the urgency to pick up a counter towards the Phobius, but I was really afraid of the gold lane matchup. So the Iritel being picked up here is nice. It's also a setting ground to see how things are going to be going. They want a winning lane against Kla, but we are still looking at heroes like the Moskov still who can find the power at some point alongside with the Bruno if that's something that they're comfortable with. But Kalea left open and it's going to be debut pick for the Kalea here at MWI.
Actually, it's a pretty good answer from TLPH. It's as if they're forcing heroes from TLG. We have Kalea, you have to go and have Purify as your spell.
And the Irita really wants that sprint.
Yeah. So this is a very, very honest and the basic answer against this Irithel. So you don't also have the Fredrine for TLPH or for TLG rather because it was banned. I think because we all know that if you have a double marksman in your lineup, you need at least 2 up front as sustain heroes or even as jungle.
So it's still something that they're considering here. Coming to the second phase, we do see that the Fredrin gets banned out. TLG have yet to pick up a jungle with the Fredrin ban. Could this be a Joy pick? Is it still a viable choice in this meta?
Could be a Joy, could be a Lancelot, something like that, but Joy has been banned.
Well, there you go.
Yep, Joy has been banned out, and I kind of feel like TLPH with their opener, they're spoiled with choice. At this point, even if they want to pick up something crazy, like say a Hellkurt or something, I feel like they can make it work because they already have a lot of control here.
Hellkurt jungle?
Yeah, they can.
I'm not saying it's a meta pick, but I'm like emphasizing how good their opening is. Any hero should be fine. If you get the Lancelot, great. You get the Link, great. There's nothing else, sure. Saber, Hellkurt, why not, you know?
No Saber, please.
It's a emphasis
that
Shout
they
out
can
Wolf.
pull off. Yeah. Shout out Wolf. Yeah. Saber. Anyway, with this,
remain.
Leaning towards the banning. So they ban out the Lancelot. I was just saying that it's actually nice for their heroes. So I think for TLG, they need heroes that could actually burst. Or no. They already have the Kimi. Sorry, I forgot it. That it could be on the middle lane as a jungle. Could they an alpha actually?
Are they setting up for another Alice?
No, honestly, like in this game, I feel like TLG, whatever jungle pick that is available, is going to be very difficult going up against the Zitian. Because as long as her passive is up, I feel like every other jungler that's open right now, you know, the fires, the tanks, the moment you get close, you're going to get pushed back, and then that's just going to disrupt your formation.
It's interesting that they banned the Granger here for TLAG, right? Because we were discussing about the
You got
Irritel
respect, man.
early
15
pick.
kills.
Right.
Just got respect.
Okay.
For that, they still have other options. Is that what you're saying? They have Moscow still. Actually, even Harith could be an option here.
Ooh, I don't like Harith.
Carry, yeah. Although if they get the Harith, they are doubling down on the magic damage. So
me neither.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's too late game. Oh my god.
Oh, okay. I mean, just like you said that it can pull.
Yeah. Caster curse. Man, Coach Booty.
I think they heard they don't. Two casters at the studio doesn't like Harith, then we pull over Harith.
That's a statement. I mean, if they win with this.
Yeah, that's clearly a statement.
Scythe, but it is what is it, you know?
But again, for TLPH, this is just too much magic damage for them.
No such thing. I believe there's no such thing as too much magic damage. Because magic defense sucks.
I agree.
So you can just burst anyone out. It doesn't matter.
But this means that they need a little bit more time to get to that power spike, right?
Yeah.
Harith in the gold lane needs at least the Holy Crystal down, and then if they want Divine Glaive. Well, I mean, we're talking about teams playing with their own flavor of MLBB, especially in MWI. So, Akai in the jungle.
Although it's gonna be crucial, yes, it could be a good counter against a Harith or even the other players and heroes of TLPH. It's just that if it misses that heavy spin, then it means the next crowd control that they have is gonna be the AOG, and you don't want the other heroes exposed for TLG.
I mean, they have Traction Pulse to kind of fall onto, right? We saw that being a really big utility usage.
What if Traction Pulse and Akai pushes them away? I mean, what if?
There is a possibility. These interactions could be weird, but speaking of weird,
Suyo, yeah.
Suyo in the jungle, we haven't seen that in so long.
This is like so last patch.
Yeah.
Right?
Are we sure that this is?
I mean, like to be fair, Suyo the nerf on the magic resistance. Looking at Kimi is very powerful, but other than that, you don't really have to worry about much. Anyways, thank you very much for you ladies, but now we gotta throw it over to Mirko and Athena.
Thank you so much, Paddle. And you're right, with the Suyo pick, somewhat of a surprise, but you've mentioned that with TLPH, they're capable of picking any jungler for Ramisi. What we're going in here for the game number 2, it's going to be Athena and Mirko again here for the action for game number 2. 1-0 current score in favor of TLPH.
1-0 into the Lanadon we go. Yeah, it really just seems like this is a previous patch draft, you know? It's a Harith, Kalea, Suyo, Phobius. It's like watching the MPL Indonesia Season 15 playoffs all over again. But we do have confirmation this is a new patch because there's a Zitian on the side of TLPH. And
okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure that we are on the same timeline, right?
Making sure.
Yeah, and especially with the Akai, interesting, in my opinion, here, Akai jungler pick here for TLG. We've seen this numerous metas ago, but still, there's a possibility of them just overloading onto the crowd controls here for TLPH. And TLPH, by the way, just needs one more win to secure this match. This best of 3 series. But looking forward onto what TLG has to offer here, some of the picks from the blue side Earth for TLPH is what TLG has to offer as well with Kimi and Gatakatra.
Blade Surge already, now going for the back. Soju, not going to commit the flicker. Alkenzaki getting poked down by Zaishi. And this is the advantage you have, at least for the Suyo, especially after seeing the Akai. Now, the Akai pick, yes, it is very interesting. Really depends on how you say interesting. Because if you say interesting as a caster in a weird tone, that means you don't like it, right? And
I'm sorry.
I agree with you. It is interesting. 'Cause
Yeah.
your clear speed is so bad, and that's why the Suyo pick gets elevated even more. You're so quick with the jungle clear. You're going to be able to force out these big heavy spins. There you go. Blade Surge already. Heavy spin baited before the turtle spawns. And right now, it's looking perfect for Team Liquid to set up for neutral objective 1. No heavy spin.
And you're like a fortune teller. It's exactly how you sold it, and then that's what's happened onto the top lane. And as you mentioned, onto the first turtle, you would want more action, more denial for TLG, but they're the ones being denied even access to the turtle. Chokes is being pushed around here by Daiki.
Yeah, free one. Oh, big ult as well. 3-man stun coming down as Daiki still survives. There's some sustain over. Vengeance shoots up. 3-man Dark Wave. Infernal Pursuit to the back as first blood into the Tsunami Slam. Ramisi picks up a kill. Oh man, TL. They're flowing like water, just like in game 2. And even in the bottom lane, Harith winning in the lane. Yinhuai getting bullied. Ramisi, Blade Surge over. Soul Sever doesn't want to charge up the arrow.
Team Liquid has a solid foundation. And initiation, as you mentioned, the 4 alone is enough. But just imagine if Kla just joins them onto the next clashes for the second and third turtle. Now TLG. The plan was what? Disrupt them onto their formation. But what's happening is that we're not seeing more of an action here for the Akai. And we need to highlight that, Mirko. Especially when we said it, it's interesting. But sometimes interesting is not what you want if you want a more capable, comfortable attack here against TLPH. And you're right. Some things are just favoring Team TLPH right now.
You gotta be more decisive when you do the interesting. You don't like it. Kanzaki onto the bad spot, forced to use it. Oh, Chokes again. Might it be forced to use the heavy spin? And yes, it does. Good chain CC though. Chokes just goes for the disengage, and again, so much tempo relieved. Now Blade Surge from the side, they get the kill. Kanzaki now in the midst of it all has the AOG, decides to go in. Good curtain call, locks him down. Daiki, a bit too deep, but gets away with the Infernal Pursuit. And now Ramisi, can he get the color? Boom, doesn't get it on Bay though, Vermouth and Bay surviving.
Okay, now we're seeing some action for TLG. There's a chase down. Bay and Vermouth will be able to get out. And Ramisi just flexing her aura here. What you gonna do? What can you do? But Kla here on the middle side. Going in for the head of Chokes.
The Panda just got back. She just spawned in the game and she's forced to recall again.
I just got back. I want to play the game. I want to go for the damage. Speaking of which, TLPH was actually caught off guard there. They just committed too much onto Chokes alone.
Absolutely.
The TLG managed to somehow pick off 2 members off. And speaking of which, picking up the purple and ENG versus Kla.
1v1 in the bottom lane. This should be a solo kill. Kla, one more hit, doesn't land a synchro vision. Ramisi can be chain CC'd by the heavy spin. Kanzaki picks up the kill. Soju will be forced to dash away, but doesn't get the wall, so won't be able to get the second part because Chokes gets another 4-4, an equalizer on the board for TLG.
Yeah, and that's what you want if you're TLG. More to the next here for Team Liquid. Very nice touch though, with a body slam as well from Chokes. And that's what you want if you want an Akai, even onto the roam or jungle. You want to stay in your place, just provide sustain as much as you can, be the body blocker here for TLJ. Looking at the gold difference, you can definitely see still onto the gold lane a huge difference here for Kla versus ENY.
You still have to be careful though, right? Like Team Liquid, you have a big lead right now coming into minute number 5, but doesn't mean that Title Legends Gaming don't have anything to play with. The heavy spin is a great tool to, again, be able to lock someone down. And Vermouth, her traction pulses have actually been a great help to TLG to get Chokes into a position to get the heavy spin.
Exactly.
TLPH going for the rotation now, bot.
Compared to game 1, actually, TLG has a nicer game plan here. It's much more easy to execute, especially when you mention the traction pulls. But Chokes here with a heavy spin, hitting Daiki, going in for the jump. It's going to be the Dark Wave. Kanzaki going out.
Good stun. Daiki though goes in for flicker out, but gets caught with the current call, tied up. Now Kla in the midst of it all. Zaman Force gets away out of the AOG. The mid lane gets cleared out too, and Ramisi gets a turret up top. So it ends up being, I'd say, pretty worth it for TLPH.
Even though there was a one takedown for TLPH targeting objectives. Oh, hit a Curious Front Zone. Zashi's down.
Soju 1 HP, TLG back at it again, this time turning the tides. Just forcing TLPH into skirmishes. Having forced it out already, now this becomes a free turtle over to TLG, who are finally, after 2 games on the board, that's their first turtle in the series.
And that's going to be somewhat of a huge advantage here for TLG, especially onto the facing. They could get an outer turret onto the top lane, but TLPH just isn't giving any space at all. And you've mentioned this is a different persona here for TLG. They're already woken up. Looking at the item as well. So far, you have somewhat of an ass claw here for ENY. So you could definitely feel the damage. Speaking of damage,
Fa turns it around in the back again. Doesn't get the synchro vision. Pops in a Purify, but will be taken out, I believe. Chrono Dash one more time. ENY gets the range with the heavy crossbow shots. Gets the pick. Daiki still wants to go for the chase. Jumps on him. Dark Wave landing on ENY now in the front of pursuit as well. Ramisi from the side. Able to get the Blade Surge down and the Soul Sever. Daiki is not a fighter on the Phobia. She's an assassin. Finds one on the MM. Mid lane turret going down. They're going for more. Blade Surge over the Bay with a Soul Sever tap this time. A few shots in, but the Queller won't be able to land on Bay.
That's a heavy clash here for TLPH. Just trying to not equalize, getting the most out of it. Eliminating the turret onto mid lane and somehow reaching onto the back lane or damage dealers here for TLG. It started off here on their instant replay on where Daiki, you mentioned, is not a fighter. She's an assassin. She just sees blood every time she sees ENY and Bay, and that's what you want to target. That is who you want to shut down. And Team Liquid actually paved off with that kind of sacrifice play.
Yeah, it was big in the end. Team Liquid back to where they started off, at least when it comes to the lead, right? Right before they lost it in a big fight in the mid lane.
Yeah.
And that's how you need to play it. You have to try to bait Tidal Legends Gaming to use those big resources first. Once you see the heavy spin used up, you can actually reset back again. Then you look for the fight, the re-engage when you see the angle. Still, even though Chokes doesn't have heavy spin, you can't just dive into the front. Remember, Vermouth and ENY at this stage are going to deal a lot of damage. They've got the items.
And that's why we could definitely see Daiki targeting them, trying to find a way to give info that they're here, they're hiding here onto the long bush. But for TLPH, now they're worried that TLG is woken up. They know what it takes. You just need to reserve that heavy spin here for Chokes. That's been measured for TLPH compared to game number 1. Getting objective or securing their roots here isn't as easy as game number 1. Okay, they're targeting the first ever Lord. Hiding here on the bush is Daiki and Soju. Claswell, you're going to be chased out by Chokes.
Oh, they bait out the heavy spin already with the few flickers. That's the re-engage potential. Blade Surge! The capitalization, instant punishment into the back. Daiki with the front of pursuit. Chokes very low. They're going to go for ENY, who's caught in the middle of the fight. And now, with a Blade Surge, they get it done. 3-4-0. Masterfully done by Team Liquid.
And that is how you do it. Just bait the heavy spin, and the rest follows. It's as you mentioned, a full PowerPoint presentation here. If you're a visual learner, that's how you do it. That's how you counter TLG. And looking at their instant replay, without the heavy spin, there wasn't anyone to push off the members of TLPH. And even Soju right now, just delivering each and every title strike, and even Tsunami Slam, handing the targets with a silver platter for Ramisi and friends.
It was so good. And for TLG, it seems like their honesty in the draft has also been reflected here in the game. They're very honest in the way they want to go for pickoffs. Once you see a traction pulse, almost 100% of the time they'll go for the full initiation. The curtain call comes in. Oh, Saichi, despite the flicker, still gets caught in the back, finding it. Ramisi, looking for the Blade Surge, won't be able to find it. Claw, pinned down to the wall. And now it's Soju who's left all alone, gunned down. Or rather, now shot down by ENY.
4 women down. And that's the layer that you want. That's the chain CC for TLG. That's the strength of their lineup. We've mentioned just one traction pulse hitting one member from TLPH, and that's it. You just need one good AOG angle, and the rest will just give that much damage. And that is what happened. Ramisi is the only woman left here, but for TL Page, they need to be very careful in terms of just picking off or going onto the front lines. Ramisi being targeted, team members chasing her down.
When you're on a Suyo, you're never overextending. You got 2 flickers built in your kit, technically, with the Blade Surge and the Queller. Depends on how you use it.
You're a Girl Scout.
Yeah, she truly is on the Suyo here. And it's funny to say that I was legit talking about the honesty of Title Legends, and then they brutally honestly just initiated on a Team Liquid who were caught off guard by the honesty. Even they were surprised, like, wait, you guys are actually going off? Well, oh, okay. We don't know how to react to this. TLPH, they gotta start reading into the honesty of Title Legends, right? Once you throw a Traction Pulse, there's a 90% chance they just go all in.
You have to take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, and for TLG or Title Legends,
See, that's a bit too
sometimes
honest.
you have to be very careful, not really revealing, as you mentioned. That's too honest. So right now for TLPH, they could go for a kill. They could jump in, especially Ramisi here with that much needed damage. They're just playing the waiting game, but no more waiting. Oh!
Exactly. Tsunami's Time of the Bay has a vengeance. Oh, what a big stun! Now with the Zaman Force, it's going to be the damage coming through with the Chrono Dashes into the back choke. Still no heavy spin. Ramisi gets away with the Queller. Now gets a double kill. Vermouth and Yinhuai still safe in the back as Bay. Axes the front line. Taiki with a flicker forward, finding the shoulder bash. Ramisi gets a triple. 3-1, Team Liquid finding a big fight to turn things around once again.
Wow! Ramisi for 3. And we've mentioned, when you're too honest, you're going to be very vulnerable.
Sometimes you gotta lie.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta lie. And with that, they reached so far with what they have. And especially cornering most of the members here. You see Chokes here just trying to sustain as much as she can, just so Bay and even Vermouth and Yinhuai could deliver the free hit. But that isn't happening. If you're too close to Daiki, she will just eat you whole. Like, without any chewing. She'll just swallow you whole. And TLPH right now, yes, we've seen some glimpse of what they can do if they just wait for the heavy spin to be used here by Chokes. Looking at the kill score, it's 13-13. But looking at the overall situation onto the map, it's still TLPH's game.
Yeah, it truly is. There's so much more tempo on the map, and that's just because of the small wins they've been able to get.
Yeah.
The capitalization, that's what we've been bringing out for TLPH, their macro game. Every time they get a win, there you go, Chokes walks up again, a bit too honest and gets punished for it.
Oh no!
Chokes gotta learn how to lie, man. She's gotta learn.
And you just have to be strong enough to resist the temptation to use your heavy spin. But we understand she has no choice. She has to defend, she has to exit, and now that's how you do it.
Zaman
we will
Force
fill in.
into the back, still a lot of damage. Claw almost sealing with Yinhuai low, but she gets the fadeaway instead with the heavy crossbow. The GDS now built up for Vermouth, pulling the Lord over to the mid lane, taking away the pressure off of the Crystal. You know what? TLG, even though we've been talking about how they should lie more, one Traction Pulse and they went in and they won the fight again. So, you know, maybe they need to be honest in the right way. Wait for the Traction Pulse. Current call
You
though on
just
Zaishi.
have to somehow
Bye-bye, Zaishi.
fill in the puzzles that are missing. You don't need to somehow tunnel your vision onto the heavy spin alone.
Yeah.
You could compromise and just, Kanzaki, Vermouth, could you do something like a Traction Pulse, maybe catching 2 to 3 members? Oh, no problem. No problem, Chokes. We could definitely do it. And for Team Liquid, as I mentioned, even though the map control earlier was onto their side, but still with that glimpse of Traction Pulse hitting onto the crucial members, especially Zaishi, this is somehow a masterful play here for Tidal Legends Gaming. And looking at the item as well, this is what we're talking about. They just need time. They just need to farm up. And now, well-farmed Yinhuai, by the way.
Very
Even
well
with a
farmed.
great Dragon Spear.
GDS into the Rose Gold Meteor last Oh. Okay, they gotta learn from that though, really. Chokes has been finding, or have been looking to find a lot of
Maybe
big
it's a
plays.
decoy.
Maybe she is the decoy. Maybe it sets up for that Traction Pulse that has been landing to take this game to the 16th minute. But I think it's better, Chokes, if, wait for the traction pulse first and then the heavy spin. At this point, I think it's a better peeling tool than it is an engage tool.
Yeah.
Just use it to peel, you have a solid backline. Sometimes you don't need to engage to win the game, and she doesn't have heavy spin. Tsunami slamming the collapse over to Chokes, but they actually don't want to go for it all the way. Now a stun over as well. Chokes super tanky, will be taken down. That's a godlike Ramisi in the back. The AOG lands. No, flickers out of it, and Ramisi is able to get a bit more sustain from the green. Camera taunt not landing from Kinzaki. And TL walk away with a solid pick, just a panda down.
And as you've mentioned, you want to somehow be the pillar of your Chokes with the heavy spin, and without the heavy spin, you're just a target. You have a painted target on your back. And TL Page, on the other hand, that was a very nice dodge here for Zai. She is very needed when it comes to the crowd controls for Team 5. And now they're contesting the third Lord for this round. Soju onto the middle, choicing out.
Jump to the back now again. Bay with the vengeance, still getting taken out. Yin Hwai, look at the heavy crossbow, able to find it now. Zaman Force over from Claws. Daiki gets a kill. Winter Crowns being bought with immortalities. Yin Hwai running the wrong way. Can she make an outplay happen? The Queller lands. Claw walks up with a Chrono Dash, and it's a big shutdown over to Claws. Daiki sets up for the game-winning push.
That's going to be a very nice cleanup here for TL Page. Only woman left here. Chokes for the defense. Going for the Tsunami Slam here for Soju. The rest of TL Page just eyeing their sights onto the crystal. An open base of TLG.
She could delay the inevitable, but it truly is inevitable here. 2-0 to Team Liquid. TLG are going to be dropped down in this GSL format.
A very great play here for TLPH. What an opener. They're not rookies at all, Mirko.
No, doesn't look like it.
Yeah. And even Ramisi leading the team onto the victory. All of them just carried the game as well. Props to all the members, especially onto Kla as well, onto gold. Just doing a great job. And picking up the Zetian as well, but somehow as Chef's Kiss, using TLG's advantage against them. And this is the Filipino version. This is how we play this Zetian. And most of the time, we could definitely see TLG just breathing fire. They have what it takes, but sometimes, as you mentioned, you have to think twice onto what Chokes should be doing.
Absolutely. Sometimes lying is fine, ladies and gentlemen, especially in competition. Yep. What's most important is the win, and I believe we're going to get a lot of lessons of that, of lying in the game, of not being too honest by LaFell. LaFell is a great liar, if you don't know.
Yeah. And every time he tells a story, he's just like on a poker face.
Okay, yeah.
So you have no choice, like, you have to gauge the situation, like, right? And with the situation, I know TL Page is quite happy. Even way back home, I know Philippines are so proud. But at opening with a 2-0. But right now, we're going on to the main stage host to hear our thoughts onto our player and the winning team, TL Page.
Team Liquid take the first win in their first match, and I do have to say, incredible performance. But I have to say, like, first of all, congratulations on incredible performance. First time playing on the international stage. Walk me through that. How does it feel to play on a stage like this against these incredible teams?
I think I did well because we prepared for this.
Honestly, the preparation was shown during the first match, and I do have to ask you: was there a plan? Like I want to say, like around game 2, was there a plan to bait a mistake from your opponents during that Lord dance throughout the second game?
We bait them.
Basically, were you trying to bait them? Were you waiting for them to make a mistake and then try to take advantage of the mistake that they were making around the Lord dance?
Yes, we're using our wave bar in order to we can use our Lord
So I want to say, like, you were using the timings of your lanes to try and gain an advantage in that sense. Okay, and one final question for you. So I want to say TLG, they're known for using Zetian multiple times, and you were able to beat them in game 1, and then you used Zetian to beat them as well in game number 2. So what makes you and your team better Zetian users and players?
Kanya
So I want to say like TLG, they're known for using Zetian. You're a better Zetian player. Why?
Oh, maybe I spam it in RG.
I like it. Just the ability to spam a little bit better than our opponents. But congratulations, Zaishi, on an incredible performance. And we're going to hand it over back to the studio.
Thank you very much. And oh boy, we got to talk about that bait around the Lord as well later. But shout outs to the casters, both Mirko as well as Dina did an amazing job. And I do agree, you know, sometimes you gotta lie to actually win the game. In fact, both of you guys look amazing.
That's are you lying?
Are you lying right now?
No, I'm just saying, you know?
Just when you said that sometimes it's okay to lie.
Yeah, but at the same time, I was looking at both of you.
You look so handsome
you
every
look
day.
good today.
Every day.
I detest that. You're hitting my insecurities. How dare you? Let's talk about the game. We got the highlights playing here. And let's first start off. Was the Akai a good pick?
Honestly, the Akai could have been a good pick as long as there was a burst or maybe a follow-up whenever there is a setup play. But there were a lot of moments for chokes that other players from Team Liquid were actually able to escape the heavy spin. So I heard you, both of you, I think, that once chokes used that heavy spin, you were like, oh, now's the time for Team Liquid to initiate. So that was the go signal for Team Liquid that, hey, they don't have the heavy spin anymore. Let's go for the initiation. They don't have any crowd control.
I'm a little bit of a different opinion. I think the Kai is bad. I think
is bad, yeah.
Yeah, that's why the nail in the coffin for TLG
Talk about hot take.
in this particular matchup was the Suyo, because the Suyo was able to clear a lot quicker, was able to rotate a lot faster as well. So it felt like in the beginning, TLPH had a little bit more control. Obviously, we do see that moment, I think, around the mid-game when the Kimmy got to the power spike, that it kind of twisted in favor of TLG. And I think this is the main thing that is super important to highlight, is the in-game adaptations coming in from TLPH, because they were doing the same things over and over in the mid game, and they were thinking to themselves, right, maybe at that point, like, why do we keep losing these team fights? So they're like, all right, let's bait out the big resources coming in from TLG, and then we look for a fight. And then we saw that instant change back in favor to TLPH.
So I have an opinion, and y'all let me know, yay or nay, whether that opinion actually suits or not. Because looking at that game, honestly, Vermont and Bay, the EXP as well as the mid, they did well.
Yeah.
But then we see like a disconnect between all the players to be like, okay, they're doing well, but now what? You know, personally for me, it looked like they were kind of disconnected.
Yeah, I think it is because there's no really way for TLG to somehow eliminate a specific hero during a team fight. I mean, it's already an advantage if you take down a player during the team fight, but the longer the team fights get, the more it is easier for TLPH to go for the counter engage. So for TLG there, to make it short, there's no really instant kill potential with that type of lineup.
And honestly, we got to look at the head-to-head here between two lanes, and I believe we're going to look at the EXP laner here just to show that it was actually a very good game for Bay, because during the game, the gold per minute, I saw at one point there's a 3,000 gold difference when they're losing.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like they should have played around that a little bit better.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, right? The fundamentals, I think, really need to be sorted out, because game number one, I think the matchups were a little interesting, like Mirko put it in the game earlier.
You got to say like,
interesting. There we go. But for this particular game, they had a winning lane. Like you mentioned, 3,000 gold lead. This was the CC into the Phobius, which is a natural counter at some point. But they didn't play with it. So I do agree that that was a little off.
Like a wasted opportunity, because there's other ways. Because honestly, looking at the highlights here, whenever the CC engages, you actually have a good team fight. But the moment the Akai engages the team fight, then it starts looking bad, because you just escape the heavy spin and then counter back. I kind of feel like they got to change the priority, right?
Yeah.
Let Akai be the insurance. If it goes bad, you push people away. Making it as an engaged tool, I kind of feel like was bad for the team.
Yeah, I think also for your TLG, that's a good point. And they always wait for the heavy spin when in fact they could actually dive against the TLPH. It's like, okay, I will do the countdown, wait for my heavy spin, and then come in for another initiation. So I kind of feel like for TLPH, since the heavy spin is the only thing that is considered a threat on longer team fights, and the majority of their heroes has skill set that are pushing forward more on the linear side, then it was a lot easier for TLPH to dive on backside players.
Yeah, thank you very much. And honestly, that was an amazing game. For now, it looks like Team Liquid is a threat in this MWI competition. But don't go anywhere. We're going for a short break before we start the second match of the day.
This land is calling.
We don't do no talking round here. We don't play no games round here. We ain't never slipping round here. This another level, this one over here is very rare. We don't do no talking round here. We don't play no games round here. We ain't never slipping round here. This another level, this one over here is very rare. Rhythm got me skanking, had me feeling like I'm Fred Astaire. Bread was kinda short, but I was smelling like a millionaire. Claimed their opposition when we stepped in, they were running scared. Man, we're louding up the atmosphere. Too much chatty, too much catty. I just lit a fatty and it came from Cali. I'm already here. I was in the clouds, I don't ever take the stairs. We don't do no talking round here. We don't play no games round here. We ain't never slipping round here. This another level, this one over here is very rare. We don't do no talking round here. We don't play no games round here. We ain't never slipping round here. This another level, this one over here is very rare. This another level, this one over here is very rare. wanna sweat until the lights came. Man, don't ever sleep, step out on this night train. Right brain, man will blow your mind like a migraine. I was busting up these spots, pulling something out my socks. Man was shuffling out of blocks, phone and vibrate. I don't need to talk to Frank, I did it my way. Never slipping, never tripping, never violate. We don't gas around here, we on a higher rate. We don't do no talking round here. We don't play no games round here. We ain't never slipping round here. This another level, this one over here is very rare. We don't do no talking round here. We don't play no games round here. We ain't never slipping round here. This another level, this one over here is very rare.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the MWI. And personally for us, we're all having fun here. We just wrapped up the first match of the day. Team Liquid was able to show pure dominance going up against TLG. It was an amazing match. But for you guys at home, something that I need to let you guys know, where this year, the All-Stars is amazing because we have a Dino theme map right now where even the lore change, the buff change, everything changes. So make sure you guys log in now and actually play around with the new map because we have special emotes for you guys in store. If you guys are content creators, heck, casual viewers, as long as you guys clip, show it on social media, you guys have a chance to actually win the new battle emotes. So make sure you guys play around because a lot of goodies is there for you guys. My name is Afel, and alongside with me is still Eterna as well as Chantel. Game 1, amazing. Now we got to focus on game number 2.
You know what? After seeing a game number 1 or match 1, I think there are teams that are still playing on the usual strategy that they have. They don't really change to whatever the current meta is, and probably would stay the same as long as they see it as effective.
I don't like her smile.
What?
I don't like her smile.
That's okay.
Oh, right. It was a Filipino team that won.
And then we have
match 1.
another Filipino team that is super dominant too. So
yeah, things happen.
it's radiating off her. It's radiating off her.
I mean, like, here's the thing. As long as I wasn't the one saying it, we're all good. But you know what? Since Chantel is here, how about we talk about Navi PH because they're one of the favorites because, of course, they are.
Yeah, Navi PH, they have been playing together for a very long time. Came from a city, like a province in the Philippines, of not Ayanami. The newer ones, Keishi, Amore, Mirai, and even Shinoa. I think for the team, the greatest thing that ever happened, or the greatest thing that they changed all throughout their run in most tournaments, is that they actually adapt to their strengths and at the same time incorporate to whatever they manage to make effective from the previous years. And I kind of feel like Mirai is one of those players. Aside from being the leader, it is great that she knows when to get those heroes that are more on the sustain side, more on the heavy charge like initiation, something like that.
Yeah, I really like, because we're talking about the mental battle between the teams where you have to lie, and having not Ayanami there, like, what's the cause? Like, go for not Ayanami. So it's like, wait. Ayanami or not Ayanami? Which is which?
It's funny because in every tournament that she comes in, it changes, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes she's Ayanami, sometimes she's not Ayanami.
So there is an internal struggle.
Give that her. Tell her that.
Yeah, maybe Ayanami.
Maybe Ayanami.
But now I want to transition to talk about their opponents. We got to talk about CFU Gaming, where they're one of the teams in your teams to watch. The power rankings, the Aramco power rankings earlier.
Absolutely. Our Cambodian sweethearts here. I mean, I guess they're not sweethearts in the game because they reflect something different. They are the Sharks for a reason. I think after several tournaments, they have put their name on everyone's mind, especially Tegami, who has been an amazing high mechanic assassin player. We saw her last year at MWI, just wreaking havoc on the Joy. However, last MWI wasn't the greatest of runs. They placed 19th to 12th, but following that was ISF, where they placed top 2. Now, the funny thing is about CFU afterwards, they were struggling quite a bit, right? I think if we're looking back 13th to 15th at the Battle of Gamers, 5th to 6th place in the SEA Games, and they were able to place 4th at AEG. But it goes to show that this is yet another moment for proving grounds for this particular team, because they have been together for quite some time, being founded in 2022.
So we're talking a lot about the history of CFU Gaming, but we here are not just focusing on the in-game. We actually want to see how they are outside of the game. So we actually prepared a special video to see how CFU Gaming actually acts outside of the game.
To be honest, she looks smart and handsome like a wine. So every day like her.
ចាំមេ friendly តាមពេលបើសារបានស្អីស្អាតទៀត friendly ខ្លាំងហ្មង I must say fine so my spelling coach was even to Delhi when you made a bus and you made គាត់រស់រាយហើយបើស្រាប់ក្នុង game វិញគាត់ឆ្លាតហើយ flexible
我觉得特别大一个原因就是因为他打游戏太厉害了，因为你看我也是因为就是去训练赛被他打服了。
So everyone loves Tegami. Like some say, like, oh, she looks good, she's friendly, she's charismatic and amazing at the game.
She's really shy in person.
Is she?
She's really quiet.
Maybe
I don't know.
Just with you.
Maybe because it's like a language barrier, or no, I'm not really sure. But when we do interviews with her, she's usually very kept to herself. So seeing that video was really interesting. But I understand the admiration from all the rest of the players from across the regions, right? Tegami is so good. She is recognized by a lot of the, her male counterparts in the same position.
And here's the thing actually that we've learned about Tegami. In an interview, she said that she's really looking forward to be up against Keishi because she wants to learn while playing against her. So it's more like she's trying to defeat her teacher and probably use her techniques up against her.
Now we have to see how fast she actually adapts. But right now, looks like we have a hot call here where Rose, coming in from Stream B, has something to report. So let's see what's going on in Stream B.
Hey guys, welcome to the Reporter Hits. My name is Rose and I will be bringing you all the action live from Stream B. So a while ago, we have just recently concluded our first match of the day in which Navi MY got a clean sweep 2-0 win up against Gaming Gladiators. And right now we are currently gearing up for our second match of the day. Now behind me, we currently have Virtus Pro, and obviously on my left, we have Terror Queens. Now this is going to be the second match of the day. I honestly cannot wait to get things started. So let's show it to the panel.
Thank you very much, Rose. Appreciate it. Oh my goodness. So Navi MY clean sweep 2-0 against Gaming Gladiators. Now here's the thing. I have a few birds all around, and they told me.
Little or big?
For me, it's massive. For me, it's pretty massive.
Okay.
So apparently, like Gaming Gladiators, they forced a lot of fights, and it looks like Navi MY was able to capitalize on that. And in case you guys missed it, this was the previous matchup. Team Liquid was able to win 2-0 very convincingly, by the way. Yes, the coach is
so celebrating the glow. Why doesn't he have like
That's
his
cute. That's cute.
assistant coach or something? You know?
reaction.
But continue. Why are you lying?
You know what? Thank you for the commentary. That's very insightful, Eterna. But now we really got to talk about the upcoming match, CFU against Navi PH. So I'm just gonna feel the vibes here, Eterna. It's like, who do you think is gonna win, Chantel?
Who do you think
is gonna win?
I mean, do you really have to ask me the
We
question
don't
when
know.
you know the answer?
No, we have no
Wait,
idea.
in all honesty, let me think about it. This is a hard question.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be Navi PH.
I did not see that coming.
Neither did I.
I'm not lying. I did not see that coming.
Gobsmacked.
I was flabbergasted.
Blindsided.
Oh, so if I were to ask you, who do you think will win?
I'm so CFU right now.
Oh, you too?
I'm so... Yeah. I'm going to step away from this one. I'm just excited to see the draft, coming out. We're going to see the draft, and we have to see whether the priorities are the same or not. Heck, maybe we'll see an Akai that actually works in this one.
Or maybe this time around, we'll see the Enchanters for this game, maybe the Florine. Again, it's all about discoveries in terms of draft for majority of the teams on day one.
Because it technically means that with Navi stepping up here, we have Murray in the roam, and she's used to having the Estes as one of her signature heroes.
And now, honestly, before we even start the match, we're actually going over to the host on the stage before we even start the second match of the day. So, Cheryl as well as Sandstorm, it's your turn.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, a massive shout out to our clearly unbiased studio that we have here in Riyadh. It's been a pleasure to wrap up our first game, but we're ready for our second.
Now, I was so excited to watch the series opener right here earlier, and we've seen the likes of Team Liquid, who has made a super convincing 2-0 clean sweep against TLG. Now, things are definitely heating up right here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, as we're gonna jump straight in to the second series, and coincidentally, this is the highlight match of the day. We will be seeing our title defenders right now with a brand new banner under their name, a Navi PH, going up against CFU Gaming, the pride of Cambodia.
So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Navi! Like we mentioned, looking to start the defense of their key and their title in the match of the day. And of course, with a GSL tournament format, you are looking for 2 wins to qualify to the next stage.
And now, presenting to you the Cambodia's finest, CFU Gaming. As the ladies are walking down, all eyes on the prize. This is going to be their biggest challenge yet. Opening up MWI 2025, their very first series and opponents is going to be none other than the title defenders. So will they pull out all the stops to face the